Hey folks, welcome back. My name is Krishna. If you're new to the channel, welcome. This time around, I thought I'd share some advanced techniques that I use within my own illustration work. Here's a piece that I'm currently working on. I have most of the colors in. I'm using a combination of solid colors, plus I'm also using patterns from the True Grit Texture Supply website. I'm not sponsored by them, but I'm a happy customer. And you can see that I've got a lot of different traditional halftone patterns here. And I'm going to share with you how I use those patterns once they're installed. And I'm also going to share with you some techniques that I use to kind of accentuate the illustration to take it into its final form. So this is just how I work. I want to go ahead and share what I do. So without further ado, let's get right into it. So I'm looking at this area here, and maybe I want to take care of all of this orange. Now, in some of my earlier coloring examples, what I like to do is I like to go ahead and keep a solid color behind everything that needs to be colored. It's what I call the base layer. It's basically a layer that contains a flat color, and from there I extract all of the other colors. Let me just give you an example here. For this guy's collar, I'm on the base layer. I'm going to use my magic wand tool. I'm going to go ahead and click. If I hit Command J, it bumps that selection onto its own layer. Command U, I can play with the saturation and start dialing things in. So in this way, it's much faster than me having to start with a transparent background. I already have colors. I just have to dial the colors in. Let's repeat that process over here, and I'll show you how I use the halftones. So this is I have a lot of individual lines, and using the magic wand tool here is just going to take me forever. So because I already have a bunch of other colors stacked on the above layers, what I can do is I can use any of my selection tools. In this case, I'm just going to use my standard lasso tool, and I'll just make a very coarse selection around the whole thing. I'm not selecting within the lines because it doesn't really matter, because nobody else is going to see the selection. So now I can hit Command J to pop that selection onto its own layer, Command U, and then I can go ahead and change the color. And what I want to do is I want to change the color to where I have significant contrast. So I'm just going to make this a little bit darker. I'll click OK, and I can check that by looking at my colors as grayscale values. And I've talked about that in one of my previous videos. But if I hit Command Y, this gives me a very quick check to see if those colors are working. So I can see I've got really nice contrast between the guy in the foreground, the hand, and the background. I could make some of these trees pop a little bit more, so that's what I'm going to go ahead and focus on next. Just to give them a little bit of contrast. I'm not going to change their values, but I'm just going to add a little bit of a highlight. So another trick that I like to employ here is if I've already got something colored, and you can see I've almost got over, I think, 94 layers in this particular illustration. With the selection tool, or sorry, with the move tool active, if I right click underneath an area that I'm interested in, it shows me all of the layers that are underneath my cursor. So I can choose layer 84, and let's see if that's the correct layer. Yep, that is the correct layer. So I'll just make my highlights. I'm going to come back in with a little bit of yellow. Maybe some of the light from this house, maybe on the opposite side, is spilling over. So that's just going to go ahead and create a little bit of a contrast sandwich. We've got dark, light, dark. So let's just check that with values. Better. So we can see how that makes that kind of stand out. If we look at this even further, so we've talked about some solid colors. Let's look at the True Grit Texture Supply halftone patterns. Those halftone patterns actually create these small dots reminiscent of old school printing. And I'm just going to look around the canvas and see if there's an area where I can actually apply those halftone patterns. Maybe this area right here where I've got the bushes. So what I'll do is I'll create a brand new layer above my base layer. I'm going to use my regular lasso tool because this is a very organic, curvy shape. I'll just make a quick selection around all of this stuff. Maybe carry this into the bottom. and use my patterns, and it's very simple. All I have to do is simply click on the pattern that I want. It automatically gets filled in. Now, what's really neat about this is we can see the pattern in the layers panel. We also see something on the right. This is basically the area that is visible. The white part of this particular section over here is the part of the pattern that is visible to the viewer. The black is the area that is not visible. So every time I'm adding a pattern, it is basically, and I'm kind of moving it into a specific spot, what it's doing is it's creating a mask. And it's masking off the areas that I'm not interested in and only applying the color to my selection. So I'll go ahead and do this one more time. Let's see, perhaps maybe what I'll do is I'll go behind this bad guy right here. I'll just select the mountains. I'll make the water a different value, but I'm just going to select as much of this structure that I can. I'm alternating between using the regular lasso tool and the magic wand. You can do that by holding down the shift key. And so I can see that I've got most of this set up. So I'll look for a suitable halftone pattern. This is off in the distance, it's in the background. I want something that's going to be a little bit lighter. And now we can see that we're getting some contrast between the black, the almost dark blue background and the structure over here. I'll make a new layer. I'm going to color the water in, and I'll maybe pick a bluish color. And then if I want to add, like if I zoom in really quick here, you can see that the halftones have missed certain areas. No problem. I just select the mask part of this, use my brush tool, and basically I can paint those areas that I might have missed, which is actually really cool. In fact, I can see that I need to do that up here too. I'm painting the mask and I'm using white. If I want to subtract from the mask, maybe I want to get rid of this part right here, I can just switch to black. And this leaves this as its original base layer. It reveals basically what's underneath. So that's, I think, an important technique to know. I'll do that over here. And I'll now select this region like so. I'll find my dark blue background. It's going to be up here somewhere, I believe. Let me just check that. Yep. So now what I can do is I can add that. So I'm going to make that white. I'll hit Option Delete, and it fills that particular area in. So you can see how I've been able to quickly either use solid colors, or I can also use these True Grit Texture Supply halftone patterns. I really like them because they're very easy to apply. The other thing that I've shown you here is if you just use your your move tool and you right click, you can literally find out what's underneath every single layer. The reason why I'm doing that for this is I want this guy's arms, he's got a metallic arm. I'm going to add some highlights by using some white to kind of make that have a little bit more of a distinct shine. So I'm adding some light values. And you might say, well, I don't really see that too much, and that's a fair point. So I'll come back in with some shading to kind of make that pop. And so that just kind of gives us a sense of material. Let's go ahead and apply some highlights to this guy's face. So I've already got the True Grit Texture Supply halftone patterns. So I'm making a new layer above that. I'll pick maybe a lighter value. The light's coming up from top, so we can kind of see that all those areas that might be shining from the top, we're getting some of that light. Now, montage, you can play a little bit fast and loose with your highlights and your shading because of the fact that These are all different elements that appear to be kind of like smashed together to create one composition. So I don't have to worry about keeping the light sources consistent across this entire montage, which is kind of liberating, honestly. Okay, so I've got some highlights there so we can see some of his facial features. And now what I can do, if I look at this, let me look at it in grayscale. I'll hit Command Y. We can check our contrast to make sure that we have good contrast. There are some areas over here in the bottom left where I could probably push that a little bit more. The other parts look okay, so let's see what I can do here to improve the contrast. Let me just go ahead and select this. Let me just use my Move tool. I'm going to go to Layer 84. I'll select all of this stuff. Command J, Command U. I'm just going to make it a little bit darker. And let's look at the value. There we go. That's a big improvement. So now we have a different value for this blue. It's a darker value, which makes it have good contrast against the side of the house. I didn't have that before. And the nice thing about this base color layer too is I can change it as well. If I could just go down to the base layer and hit Command U, I can choose what the underlying background color is going to be. Kind of bring in some of those reds. Kind of like that. Click OK. So now I've got this illustration almost ready to go. So if I look at this, it's kind of chaotic, right? A montage has a clear focal point. Right now, the focal point isn't so obvious through color. Right now, if I look at this particular composition here, if I follow the leading lines in this composition, I'll just make a new layer above everything here. You know, we've got leading lines from the star, the hand. You know, leading lines are bidirectional. They can go up or down. And people also follow the eyes for leading lines. So, you know, things are basically taking us to this character here. We've got leading lines from the desert rocks. The train is moving in this direction. This guy's eyes, even though he's facing away, his eyes are actually pointing us back to the focal point. This guy's pointing us back. We also have leading lines from the skull, the house, the circle, the neck. So you get the idea. These lines are all kind of moving us in and around the composition to where we're getting to a focal point. But right now, the problem here is that the color is not necessarily making the focal point stand out. There's a couple of different ways that I can address that. First way that I'm going to address it is I'm going to find the layer that contains my character, and I've already got those layers already set up. Watch this. I can go ahead and choose another color. I'll just choose red. And then I can use a layer style here. You can see right away when I use these different layer styles, like this might be kind of a cool aesthetic right here, where I can see that I'm applying a screen effect across the entire thing. It is going to diminish some of my colors, but you can see that it really pulls your eyes into the character in the center. Here's color dodge. You know, there's linear dodge. You can play around with these different types of layer styles. Let's see here. Soft light. There's some of these are maybe less desirable. That's kind of trippy. There's also hue, which can be useful here. So in this case, let me just go back and choose hue. What this is doing is this is kind of applying a reddish tint to all of the other elements, and it's kind of working with two complementary colors. I've got green and I've got red. And notice how your eyes go to the green, because the green is different from all of the reds within the composition. So adding this layer here and using the hue layer style can be helpful. If I don't like that red for whatever reason, I can always hit Command U and I can adjust that as I see fit. So maybe more of like a maroon color. That kind of looks cool. I can change the saturation, maybe make it less vibrant. maybe make it a little bit more dark. And now this pops. So in this case, even though I have a lot of different colors at play here, I'm checking the value of those colors, and then I'm also unifying those colors by way of creating a color fill that it takes up the entire composition and using the hue layer style. So hopefully you got some tips and techniques out of this video. If you did, please consider giving it a thumbs up. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to go ahead and ask. As always, thanks for watching the video, and I'll catch you next time. See ya.